welcome to Rebels.
My question is, so I'm Tiani, and I'm starting a community for lawyers primarily. So helping lawyers to meet, connect, and support one another in various aspects of their career journey.
Love
The
it.
collateral I have right now is a blog and a podcast. And I'm just curious about like how to kind of move people from like this blog podcast. And we have done like events that are paid. So people have been paying to participate, but like kind of move people from there onto into a community. And like does it mean we start a Slack channel? Do we start a Facebook group? Like how exactly do you kind of move from just being a content provider to now actually forming and putting people together into a group? And like how much time do you spend like figuring out like what are the things that are valuable for them, because you don't want to just create another Slack channel that's just going to annoy people.
Yeah, we all have too many Slack channels. Yeah, so great question. One community I recommend checking out is Ironclad. They have a really great community program for lawyers, for in-house lawyers. That's their focus. So a good example for you to check out. Yeah, getting started. Don't worry too much about the platform. Platform doesn't matter as much as the people. So spend the same way you would when you're building a product. Like, what do they tell you about building a product? Get out of the building, right? If you're just building a product without talking to people, you're almost certainly doing it wrong. Same thing for building a community. If you're building a community without talking to people, you're almost certainly doing it wrong. So I would spend the first 2 weeks to a month just getting on the phone with as many of the people who subscribe to your podcast and your newsletter and your content as possible, and just like have conversations with them and ask them, what are the challenges you're dealing with? What are the problems you have? Who do you want to connect with? How do you want to connect with them? What tools are you using to connect with people right now? Where are you going to get help? And just learn as much as you can about who these people are, what their identity is, and where their need is for community. Once you have that, you're going to have, trust me, after 3 calls, you're going to have a laundry list of ideas for things that are much more interesting than let's launch another Slack channel. You know, maybe it is just like host a Zoom call with 10 people to start, but focused on, you know, a very specific problems that lawyers are facing, and they don't have a private space to talk about it right now where they can like be really honest and open. So you're having you know, a completely safe space in a virtual call for them to be able to like have real talk about this specific problem that they're dealing with. Like maybe it's about like having a client that, you know, doesn't want to work with you anymore, like something really uncomfortable, right? Like that's where like the real meat is for community, is in conversations that they have nowhere else to go to talk about, and you give them a space to do that. So just, you know, you'll have your list of tactics and things you can try, and you just have to start trying things and seeing what works and seeing what resonates. And, you know, 9 out of 10 things might not work, but if you find one format, one like special experience that really clicks with the community you're trying to build, that's a really strong foundation, and you can continue to build from there. So start by talking to people, start experimenting with minimal ways of bringing them together, whether it's through chat or live conversations. I really like live conversations because you get to see each other, you get to build relationships, especially in the early days, and that will translate to really good engagement in a Slack community later, or Circle or forums or whatever you want to use.